Okay. Without further ado, my goodness sakes, we did it.
I hope my mom comes back. Like, Mom,
Mom,
come back to watch.
I told everybody to come back. So if they didn't come back, I'm going to be watching on my phone just like you are, and we're going to find out because it's so funny, Carlin, because I had it all right this time and something on your end happened. Isn't that the hilarious? I mean, it's just hilarious. Ah, but we're here now.
We're a perfect team.
Yes, we are. Because we know that we're human and we just can laugh right through it because you have so much to say and I'm going to get right to it because you've been introduced. We've laughed about what's happened. We've talked about previous times and now without further ado, I give you Carlyn Shaw. What the hell is your story?
Well, oh gosh, where do I begin, Kathy? First of all, thank you for having me back and then bring back today and then all this madness. Like, I love being in your flow. I love being a part of your mission and I'm super stoked to be here. Let's see, my story. Where do I start? Well, I went ahead and just grabbed one of my strangers to friends cards because I thought I should put it closer. So there's the front and then the back says the journey of a friendship begins with two strangers. Strangers to Friends started with this. It was before I ever had a website. I invented connection cards. And it's almost like I didn't invent them. I gifted myself this new way of living. And this was in 2009. And I was in between careers. So I was a nurse recruiter and I found myself in between jobs. And I recognized that without a card, I felt inadequate. I also recognized that with a nurse recruiting card, who the heck was I going to give it to? Because it wasn't like I was meeting nurses. Right. So I became like, what is this card and and how am I identifying with it and how am I leading with it?
Right.
So when a friend invited me to a networking event, this idea came to me to go create connection cards for myself. I ran to Kinko's and I'm filling out the form and it asks you, what is your job title? And I just go, well, just download it into me. And I go, well, why turn strangers into friends? So that's really where this journey began. And the more I started using these cards to connect with people, it was as if the universe was looking down on me going, well, she's ready to play. And all the right people I was supposed to meet and discover and help and inspire and at the same time receive from and learn from and be guided from, my path just started opening up. And I wanted to look at it as weird that this was happening so much, so fast. So I bought a website, Strangers to Friends, and I started writing my stories because that was the only avenue I had. This was really before Facebook and before, I mean, it wasn't before Facebook. It really wasn't, we weren't using social media to share. So, I created a blog. And eventually I've taken this journey. I ended up moving across the country from Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm sorry, from San Diego to Wilmington. And I moved there not knowing a soul and having never been there before. And I printed out 500 of these. And it was like this science experiment I gave myself of who am I if I strip myself from everything I have been? Yep. Because I was shifting phases in my life. I was 33, almost 34. And this ties into my story with MS that I'll get into a little bit later. But when I was going through this shift of really discovering who I was and how I was defining myself and presenting myself to the world, I moved to a city where I could do that for myself. And it all worked out better than I could have ever imagined. And then I decided when I moved on a whim to Colorado a year and a half later, eventually this has become now my mission to have everybody on this planet know that not only are we all connected, but we are all showing up on each other's paths with purpose. Right. And that purpose might be for a smile to make us smile. That purpose might be to give us an idea. That purpose might be to introduce us to somebody else. That purpose could be a business partner. It could be a life partner. But the reality is when we initially meet somebody in a moment, we don't know that purpose. It's not exchanged right away.
No.
And the way to learn why we show up for each other, how we're here for each other, is trust. When you meet somebody, if you have your blinders on and you immediately assume or judge, you could be turning your back on the best thing that could have happened to you.
Right.
So now I'm just sharing this with people like you that are helping me share it with others, and creating events that are bringing people together to get them in a space of practicing being human,
Right.
without in a safe environment
I
and
love it.
conversation. We live in a world more connected than ever, but more disconnected than ever. And I mean, that's obvious. We can fight it all we want, but this is the trend. It's not changing. It's only going to get more connected. But we have the power to create more human connection.
Right.
And that's really like part of my heart and soul is, if I could reach through and hug you right now through this, I would.
I'm hugging you. You're so sweet. You're so sweet. And I can't tell you how much I love the whole idea about strangers to friends. And, last time you were on, I had friends contacting me and saying, I'm stalking her because they live in, Colorado and Denver, and I'm stalking her. I want to know what she's doing. I said, just contact her. You will
Right.
you will turn from a stranger to a friend. This is what it's all about. And the thing about it is when I was young, you could go up and talk to people. It was a lot different. In Thailand, I can sit in a restaurant and I can see someone next to me and I can just start talking. They don't think it's odd. They don't think it's unusual. In the States, something happened where we couldn't do that anymore. We couldn't just go and say hello because people were thinking, well, who is that? What do they want? It was paranoia, it was fear. And to have this kind of, project and group coming together to say it's really okay that you say hello to me, because I was too afraid to say hello. So, well, I'm so glad you did. And just like you said, the exchange of human connection, we don't know initially what it's about.
Never. And like the story really of where this all came from in me, I mean, there's a lot of different pieces to the pie. I'll say, a large portion of this aha of the power of people, it's been through my journey with MS. So I was diagnosed with MS when I was 19. And this is before Google, before social media, before you can go online and just connect with people that are like you. So you and you couldn't even go online and look for answers on how to heal. Like everything had to come from within. So I was on this journey for so long of not like I needed to be validated from others, but I thought, how am I the only one like myself? Why can't I find others?
Right.
And it wasn't until, I don't know, like 8 or 9 years into I was 2008 maybe, that I finally met, and I was diagnosed in 97. So it took a while, that I finally met a group of girls like me. And how did I meet them? I went to a women's event. I went to the event and I looked for a table of younger people, because you don't normally see younger people with MS. No. And so I found this group of girls that were, around the same age as me. Mm-hmm. And we formed this instant bond because we had this common connection. It wasn't based on complaining. It was based on supporting, and this idea of support versus sympathy. So when you connect with people that actually understand and relate what you've gone through, it's game changing. And this is for anything in life. It doesn't have to be a dis-ease. It could be, moving to a new city. It could be you lost your dog. It could be whatever it is that you're having a struggle with. When you talk to somebody that gets it, it makes you feel better. Yes. So these were like the unlikely strangers to friends that I never imagined having in my life. But here it is, 2017, they're all still in my life. I couldn't imagine not having them in my life. And what we formed after we became friends was, when this was living in San Diego, we formed our own dinner group. And once a month we got together for dinner at a different brewery, and we didn't talk about MS unless we needed to. We hung out as friends. Yeah. But these common denominators. So it's not like I preach, to wear your baggage on your sleeves, but I preach about not letting your baggage prohibit you
Right.
from being this person, because your baggage is so much of who you become. I wouldn't be who I am without my stories. My goodness, I always say the best thing that ever happened to me was my diagnosis, because of how it just ripped perspective out from under me and at such a young age, and followed by my diagnosis. Both of I had two group of girls that I was best friends with in high school. Two of them were killed separately within 10 months, and within 10 months of my diagnosis. So the value of a friendship. So it was a very, yeah, it was kind of there was a lot to where this came from, but it's like this value of supporting each other.
Right.
Also, I'll ask you this. When was the last time you just sat in your room? And no, I love prayer. I pray all the time.
Yeah.
When was the last time you just sat in your room and prayed and the thing fell out of the sky and landed in your lap?
You know, like you, now that I see and my eyes are wide open, it happens quite often. But before.
But through people.
Through people. Not often.
Right. What I'm saying is, it literally doesn't fall out of the sky onto your lap.
No,
but
absolutely
it does fall out of the sky onto your lap. In the word, we use serendipity, we use synchronicity.
Yes.
We use, I can talk for hours about how my intuition has guided me to these people. But what ended up happening was this realization that my life was unfolding because I was taking my blinders off and being open. And sometimes it wasn't about me. It was about me being open for them. But in return, the karmic result, even that, it's like trusting that. It's like when we give, we get, when we get, we give. It's all connected, right? So it's all just connected.
Exactly.
So it's this, it's a knowing that I have, and a faith that I have, and a trust that I have. And I have yet to meet the wrong person, because even people that have created scenarios in my life that were hard to accept, they all brought me to this moment, and they've all taught me. And that's another part of it all. It's
well, it's kind of like the hardest things that happen to us become our greatest teachers. We don't think it at the time. We're so pissed off, and maybe we try to put the person or the thing aside. But in actuality, if we actually sit down and say, what happened there? It ends up being our best teacher.
And in all fairness, it's not about going, I'm going to be positive all the time and look at this positive. What happens is, and I'm the same way, I'm human. When I'm stuck in something, trust me, I'm stuck in it. There is no light around me. The tunnel feels really far away, but it's the faith in the tunnel, and it's the faith in the light. And it's the belief in the knowing that it's taking you somewhere. So when we're in it, we can't see a silver lining. It's impossible.
Right.
But we go through it, and I guarantee you, a silver lining of a sort will present itself. Right. Sometimes through people, sometimes through knowledge, and sometimes through just the experience. And so I like to say that tragedy creates purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's how we choose to use it.
Exactly.
And I don't know why bad things happen to good people, because I try not to look at it as bad things happening to good people. I look at it as life happens.
Life happens, yes. And life is not going to be perfect. There's going to be pain and struggle and good and bad. And it's given to us on a silver platter so that we can choose how our purpose will emerge from that. I agree with you 100%. I love what you are mimicking to others about this, because that's why Strangers to Friends is such an awesome avenue to go down. I mean, I see because people are like, well, this is real. And, look at her.
Taking back that there's no prerequisite to be a human, I think. I'm like, you don't have to like certain football teams. You don't have to, in fact, you don't have to be an extrovert. You can be an introvert, because introverts are like, it's all connected. But there's an element that I like to help people with or support people with. And that is this letting go of the fear of rejection. I think a lot of times people withhold themselves from connecting because they automatically assume that they're going to be rejected, which
Right.
goes along the same line as confidence and self-worth and self-love. And it kind of always comes back to these same, fundamental
Right.
ways of going through life. Like it always comes back to self-love.
Exactly.
And no matter whether it's healing from my MS, whether it's believing in whatever it is I've done, the trust and the self-love ends up being the foundation. And it's not something that's taught in school. So so
No.
a lot of us grew up never really understanding this, being thrown out into these crazy journeys, having to figure it out on our own. And now we're adults and we're going, well, what's going on now? Because now everybody's through a computer screen and like, I can't even, who do I turn to? So
Exactly.
what I try to do with my events is I always lead with a name tag. You wear your first name, it's your first name. And I lead with an open-ended question. So I make it
Wow.
really safe and
Yeah.
really fun to connect
Mm-hmm.
with people, and everyone knows the question. I have happy hours.
Yeah.
I lead crafting events. I lead, whatever it is that's going to be able to create community and connection. I'm partnering with a variety of people right now, and I've started working one-on-one with people, which is so fun.
Fantastic. Yes.
I have a guy that I speak to every week, and we're literally talking on the phone, practicing conversation. Because
Yeah.
he works as a software engineer and he doesn't get the opportunity to have these conversations in real life.
Right.
And it's a fundamental part of being human.
Right.
We're not coaching him on something. We're being human together. And
Yeah.
I've got women that are transitioning through jobs, and they want a friend to talk to, so I can show up as a friend. There's a lot of ways that as adults we need support.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
there's not really this correct way to ask for it, or who do you ask? And you
Who do
don't
you
want to
ask?
be a burden. And
Mhm.
but maybe if you had support in this one thing, my goodness, it could catapult you to so many other things, because this is the one thing you're stuck in.
Mhm.
But there's not somebody like, I help people in just this. It's
Yeah.
we all need help differently. So
Yes, we
I'm
do.
very open to talking to anybody without judgment and creating what can we create together to get you through something,
Right.
and build some confidence in you that you can then take on your own to carry you into the next.
Well, and the thing about it is the big thing for everyone, because it's over the media, it's everywhere, is judgment. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Judgment bogs down people. It makes people turn and walk away. It hurts. And to have a place that's safe where there's no judgment is
None.
huge for people, because, oh, I can't say what I think about this, or I better not do that. Or, I mean, we are so programmed in the United States through media, I hate to say it, to be a certain way, to look a certain way, to do this, to do that. And if you're not, then you're judged. And
Right.
it's so debilitating to some people, especially like introverts, you know, like someone treats me like that, I'm pretty much okay. But there's a lot of people that aren't, and we need to be there for each other. And that's what
My
you're doing.
favorite people my favorite people that attend my events are the ones that are being brave, are
Yeah.
the ones that show up being brave, because it was a big deal for them to come on their own. This
Yes.
is way outside their comfort zone, and they're
Right.
actually coming. Okay, when I say that, I'm not judging that these are my favorite people. I love everybody, but
Right.
I will not let anybody sit in a corner. And I will dig and ask questions until I find our common denominator, because there's always a common denominator. If it is just the fact that we're human and standing in the same room together, there's a reason we're there. And
Right.
so I really, I love that I have regulars at a lot of my events, because I'm witnessing them evolving, which is the
Right.
coolest part about it. And
Yes.
now they're just saying yes so much easier. And it's just because someone is creating the space for them to be this. And
Right.
it's a lot of men. I would say, I mean, I think one of the cool things about my events is a lot of men, and it's not dating. It's nothing's actually, no hitting on people. It's literally just a safe space for you to not feel this pressure that you're speaking to the opposite sex. Because even
Right.
the opposite sex can be human together without this idea that there's an intention behind it, right?
Right.
So
Exactly.
even that, and I think that's so much of it too, is approaching people without intention, but approaching people just as people. And
Right.
you'll learn where it goes. I mean, I always say my events are lead with you, not what do you do. So it's
Exactly.
not what can you do for me? It's not a salesy exchange. It's a
Mhm.
passion exchange, it's a people exchange. How you pay your bills is going to come up in conversation eventually because it's how you spend a big chunk of your life.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be everything that you lead with, but it can be if you want it to be. It doesn't have to
Right.
be.
Right. Right.
Yeah. It's
And
non-networking.
I'm looking on Facebook right now. I'm looking on my phone, and I want you all to know that we came back on. And where are you? My
Oh,
goodness.
really?
Yes, where are they? And so I guess we need to share the link for them, and hopefully they'll come back on. We've had 5 views, which I think is very unusual. And maybe they thought, oh, well, they won't come back on. They're not coming back on. It's a technical difficulty. Wrong, people. We came back on, and we're here. So I think you ought to start. I think we ought to start posting for people, sharing the link. That in
It's okay.
fact, yeah. But
It's okay.
if you're a stranger to a friend, you should come on because
It'd be fun if more people were on, but it is what it is.
well, this will be
But
shared. It's going to be
yeah, we
shared.
can
So
share this.
we can share
This.
this. And if you're busy tonight, then have a look at another moment. But the one thing that I love about strangers to friends is the fact that it's not you started it, you had the idea, you created the cards, but nowhere do I hear it's about you. Nowhere.
No. It's
And
really
I find
yeah.
that to be very admirable that in fact you needed something at a time in your life and you were able to achieve those things that you needed at the time through exchanging and having that human connection. And from that came this great idea of strangers to friends.
I
And
want to
it
share a
has grown.
story.
I know. I
It's
want
really
to hear
yeah.
the story.
So I want to share a story. I went on my, Facebook lets you see your memories. So I went on there and it turns out I have a memory from 7 years ago today. That's actually one of my favorite strangers to friends stories. And I doubt Lynn Patterson is online right now, but I'll send this to her to make sure she sees it.
Yes.
So this was 2010 and I had just started this. I had just printed them. So it was January 2010. I just printed these cards really. And I was leaving a farmer's market in San Diego, and I was walking back to my house. And I stopped on the street corner before crossing the street, and there was a gal there with her daughter in a stroller. And I just kind of saw them looking for something on the ground, and I stopped to see if I could help. And she said, "We're looking for a nickel. My daughter dropped a nickel." And as silly as it sounded, I was like, "Oh, I'll help you find your nickel." And we just started chatting. And before we knew it, we're walking in the same direction. And we end up walking all the way back to my house together, all kinds of story swapping. When we get to my house before parting ways, she casually says to me that she's having an MS fundraise. She's doing something to fundraise for MS, and maybe I would want to be involved. And I just stopped and I looked at her and this is when MS was a very big part of my life.
Yeah.
And I looked at her and I go, "Do you have MS?" And she said, "Yes." And I was like, "Oh my God, so do I. This must be why we've met." And it was this crazy surreal feeling of like it being so on purpose. So so I go home and within, I don't know, an hour later, I get a text message from her and she's like, "Oh my God, call me. I have to tell you something." So I immediately called this new friend of mine. And remember the Franklin Covey planners that we all had like a million years ago? Like way back in the day? Okay.
Yes.
So in 2007, an article ran about me in the San Diego Union Tribune about being a team captain for these 3-day walks for MS I was running in San Diego. Well, it turns out in 2007, she cut this article out from the newspaper, folded it up, and put it in her Franklin Covey planner that she had been carrying around with her for 3 years. And she got home and realized I was the girl she'd been wanting to meet for 3 years. And that just kind of it felt crazy. It felt like in that moment, I knew there was something much greater than me. It was confirmed. in that moment, I knew none of this was accident. And
Yep.
I have so many stories like Lynn that have happened. I mean, this was 2010, so you can imagine all the stories I've had
Yeah.
since then. And this is the stuff this is the magic that, there's so many elements of magic to that story. It's our tragedy that connected us.
Yes.
It's being open to just stopping and helping without anything in it for me.
Yep.
It's hearing each other and listening to each other. It's her being brave to reach out and say, I have an MS event maybe you want to help with. And if she hadn't have said that, we wouldn't have known. So it's like there's these cool parts to that story, and we're still friends. So
well, and see, that's the wonderful thing, is that you're still friends. So when you say create human connection, you mean it, because it didn't go away, and it's not going away. And so to me, in this day, in this time, in our lives, we absolutely need it, because so many people feel alone because of just holding themselves up on their computer, just being on Facebook and nobody else, or, so we need that connection so that we can find value in our own lives too, because we are nothing without
we're nothing without each other. I mean, we're not designed. Our species isn't designed to be like, we all live in little shoe boxes now, but we don't have to, but that's the way of life now, but it's not how we are designed as human beings to live on this planet, And, it's not that I don't criticize society. I mean, I recognize I'm not the only one out there like this. There's a lot of amazing people out there. I have a lot of wonderful friends that are doing wonderful things to create connection. But there's always room for more. Especially now that the world, I'm just going to put it out there and just say there's a lot of shifting going on, right?
Yes, there is.
Now more than ever, we're being challenged. We're being challenged to stand up and speak. We're being challenged to help our neighbors. We're being challenged to define to really embrace like what it is, who we want to be on this planet. And we all have, it's easier now more than ever, actually, to be the version of yourself you want to be. You just have to decide to be it, and trust that no one is judging you because you're not judging them. And half the time people, I hate to say it this way, but we think so many people are concerned with us or care, but actually they're more concerned with themselves.
Yeah.
Like we get so fearful of doing things because, what are people going to think?
Right.
I guarantee you, when my friends know me, especially my friends I've had in my back pocket for as long as I can remember. My stories don't shock them anymore. They're just like, what's Carlyn doing next? Right. And in fact, next I'm running a marathon in Alaska in May.
Please tell us about that. Please tell us about it.
I'm speaking in Alaska. I was invited to speak for the Prince of Wales Alaska Marathon, which is Memorial Day weekend. It's the smallest Boston Marathon qualifying race in the country. And I get to talk to the elementary school and the high school. And I get to present to the runners. And the best part about how this experience came to be is it's a complete strangers to friends story. I don't know anyone in Prince of Wales, Alaska. They don't know about Carlyn Shaw in Denver, Colorado. But in Denver, Colorado, I got invited to my friends' group, a women's group in town, where they invite a few women to share their thoughts on certain words and topics. Right. And my friends asked me if I'd participate. This was January 2015. And another gal that showed up to participate happened to be a gal that used to live in Denver and now lived in Prince of Wales, Alaska. So I just met her at this group because we were talking. So we became Facebook friends. And in our Facebook friendship now, she saw part of my story of how I ran the Boston Marathon and the New York Marathon for MS and how my journey of healing myself. And she reached out to me and said, I know the race director here, and they're always looking for inspirational speakers. Any chance you want me to put your name in touch with them? And I'm like, duh, that would be like a dream come true.
Exactly.
And guess what?
Yay!
It's happening. Technically, I have to train to run a marathon now, so it's still a lot of work on my end.
I love it.
It's magic. It's magic. It's saying yes to this, which turned into a yes for this. So life is these choices we have. It's these
Right.
decisions. And often, and I don't want to say it's always about saying yes. Sometimes saying no is
Yeah.
saying yes,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
it's really listening to what you want to do, not what someone's telling you to do.
Right.
Um, yes, there's compromise. Yes, there's also
Oh,
there's so many layers. I'm not gonna. There's no right or wrong. But
no.
at the end of the day, it's really listening to your heart. Your heart's gonna guide you to the right people. Your
Mhm.
heart is gonna guide you to the right decisions, the right opportunities. Your heart is actually more important than your brain. I mean, the heart is, and I know I sound so woo woo and so cheesy, but
No,
it's because it's real,
it's
and
because
it's
it's
because I know only
true.
know this because I've gifted myself the I've gifted myself permission to lead life this way. I just want it for others.
and and I agree 100% with you, because
Yeah.
if you have an open heart, the sky really is the limit. There's no end to what you can give or what you can receive. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people these days struggle with purpose and
Mm-hmm.
passion, and they've been told that maybe their purpose is this, or they should be passionate about that, and so they go in that direction and they go in that direction and they don't know where to go, when in fact, like you said, if you sit in quiet for just 5 minutes and just open your heart and concentrate on that, you will have the answers. So I sound hairy fairy too, but I believe
Well,
that.
and it's also being okay with mistakes.
Yes,
I don't
yes,
believe in
yes.
mistakes. There is no such thing as a mistake. Honey, I
Never.
wouldn't be here right now. I made so many mistakes to get to this
Same.
very moment right now, let me tell you. So, I mean, even our mistakes of this interview is different now than it was. This interview, even in existence right now, is different than it was
Yes.
an hour ago because of our mistakes. So everything is it's just a
Everything's
building
perfect.
block on everything. I
It's
can get really deep with
perfect.
this, but I'm not
I
going to
know,
go that deep right now.
but it's
I'm just going to
perfect.
say that we have to be open to failing because it's not
Yes.
failing.
Right.
I'm in the process of writing a book, and my book is going to be about all of these kind of like, I mean, it is all these stories where I was almost just put in this position where I could have gone this way or I could have gone this way. And the result that happened in my life by going this way. Some people know me from, and even strangers to friends I've made, because in 2013, I was thrown over a bicycle and lost my two front teeth. So for 8 months at the age of 36, I did not have front teeth, which is not normal for a 36-year-old to be rocking out with her teeth out.
And you
And
were fine with it. I saw pictures of you, and you were
yeah,
smiling big as big can be.
well,
You
I
did
wasn't
not
going to let
give
that pavement steal my smile. Like,
exactly,
no way. No way.
exactly.
Stole the teeth, not stealing the smile. Yeah, I
That's
draw the line
right.
there. But even that with that choice, my goodness, I got to meet. I get emails. I mean, I got an email last week from a gal in Argentina. We're emailing back and forth now. She sent me pictures of herself. She's 47 years old. She found my blog, and the reality is, I mean, not to get this is a whole other topic really, but the United States is a cosmetic society. We are a first
Yeah,
world country. When you lose your teeth here, there's a good chance that
yeah,
you can get them replaced. The rest of the
yeah.
planet, not so much. So who knew that me having this incident and writing this story and sharing it, I get more people from South and Central America writing me like it would, and even the Philippines and
Yeah,
Indonesia. It's mind blowing because
yeah.
they're just looking for connection on something
That's
that
right.
they're
Can relate to.
experiencing, and they
Yes.
want to talk to somebody that's relatable on it.
Well,
It's
and
all,
Paul Avery says, really proud of what you're doing, Carlyn. So
and
glad.
Paul's in London.
It's a success. So thank you, Paul, for watching in London. We appreciate it. And Carlyn,
Yeah. Hello, Paul. This is my bad British accent.
I hope you heard that.
Yeah.
He gives you a thumbs up.
Awesome.
He did give a little comment, which is really awesome. Um, there's some things, you've talked about running a marathon, and you're going to
My
sort of,
fourth.
yeah, I mean, you've done a few marathons now. Um, what has the marathons done for your body and your soul? And as a child, did you think this is where your path was going to go? Did you have an inkling as a young child at all? Some people say, when I was young, I knew I was going to do this. And I always think, how did you know that? You know?
Right.
Because there are some
When
people
I
that do have that.
When I was young, my role model was Jane Pauley on the NBC Good Morning
Okay.
Today show. And I saw
Wow.
her as somebody that told stories.
Yeah.
And at a young age, I knew I wanted to share stories.
Right.
But what I didn't like about the news was they weren't always positive stories. So I thought, well, maybe
Right.
if I go broadcasting, I can change the stories. And that's what I did. I majored in television broadcasting, which was the beginning of just the journey that I'm on. I mean, I ultimately interned and realized it wasn't what I wanted to do. And that took me into public relations. And then
Right.
that took me to this and this. It's interesting. I had this conversation actually with a friend today about intuition and are we, I can only look back now and see as a child that I was following an intuition, but had no awareness about what intuition was. And I also didn't recognize that other people didn't follow it.
Right. Right.
I had no concept that I was living true to self in ways that other people weren't living. So I've always been, and to say as a child, was I like this and how did I get here? I've actually always been somebody that kind of walked to the beat of my own, what is it? Whatever that phrase is. I walked to
drummer.
Yeah. There we go. I was a follower. Yeah. I followed a lot. I went through these, I would actually have this inner struggle of following and leading.
Right.
But it was through all these things that happened to me that eventually like pushed me to be the leader that I enjoy the role of being, because in the beginning I was scared and I wanted to stay small. There was this fear of being seen, and the fear of being seen actually sent me down a really bad spiral. I mean, I suffered with depression. I had an really bad body image, just a lot of stuff that a lot of women go through.
Yeah.
But mine was really pretty bad for a while. And, but intuitively, I've always pulled myself out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that now as an adult, I'm just that on like a much greater scale.
That's awesome. So, it's funny how growing up, kind of we have a knowing of how we're going to go, that you ended up here. And it's really a beautiful thing. I mean, I wish, there's so many times I look on Facebook and I see what you guys are doing in Denver and I'm like, damn, I want to be part of those strangers to friends. I feel like
I really would like to do something online, create like a Zoom meeting where we can all come in and just chat and hang out.
Absolutely.
I've launched Strangers to Friends Boulder, and I launched Strangers to Friends Boulder, and I also launched Strangers to Friends Fort Collins. And I actually just got an email from a guy, because I have 80 people that have signed up for the meetup in Fort Collins, and he just sent me an email like 20 or right before we got on together, and he said, "Way to go, Carlyn." He's like, "You have 80 members and you don't even have an event yet." He's like, "So are we going to figure out?" And so I have my second event in Boulder already scheduled for February 9th. And I have an event every week lined up for the next 5 weeks in Denver. So, if you're on Meetup and you're in Denver, you just have to sign up for Meetup. You can go to strangerstofriends.com and click on events, sign up for my newsletter. You can go to Facebook and search for the Strangers to Friends group. I put everything in there, or you can message me and I'm probably going to write you back. So, and
not only that, but I live here in Thailand, and you connected a stranger to me here, which we're supposed to be meeting before, I think, probably today or tomorrow. I'm looking forward to meeting her.
I'm going to give a shout out to She's Without Limits. Am I saying it correctly? I think I am.
She Without Limits, I think, is the name of her.
And I
Yeah.
will fix that if I said it wrong. But I made some really good friends here in Denver. I actually want to like look up the group and make sure I'm saying it correctly. But I made some really awesome female friends here in Denver, and it turns out one is traveling the world to Thailand. So I connected to
Yeah.
you guys, and hopefully
Great.
you're going to have her on as a guest, and we can
Yes.
spread her mission across the world, because that's it.
Yeah.
If we just take the time to share,
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite thing in the world is to PR my peeps, and by
Yeah.
that I mean, as
Right.
the way I live my life, I meet a lot of great people doing a lot of great
That-
things. And who
Yes.
am I to keep that to myself? I want to share
Yeah.
these. And so
Exactly.
it makes me excited to share her with you. It makes me excited
Yeah.
to share you with her. It's a
Yeah.
win-win. And then I just kind
Very
of sit back
excited.
and go, that was so fun. Let's see where that takes them, you know?
Yeah. No, it's
It's
great.
not
I mean, I
about me.
love.
It's not about me.
No, I know. I love that, and I'm one of those people that would do the same, because if somebody's in your land and they know me, please go find my people there,
Yeah.
because I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. And I'm just so
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited I'm going to meet her. We're going to hook up.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully my vision with Strangers to Friends is to be able to form a directory so
Yeah.
that people can actually join Strangers to Friends,
Yeah.
create their, like, I don't know, not a profile, but whatever it's going to be. And that way there is this value system that's already built into it. If you're a member of Strangers to Friends,
Right.
and if you are
Right.
in Denver and you're traveling to, let's say, Jacksonville, Florida, or Atlanta,
Yeah.
or San Diego, and you want to connect with people, you can go in the directory and say, who's a stranger to friend? But everybody is a real human being. It's not a swipe right or swipe. Nothing wrong with any of these apps, but
Mhm.
I'm making what my vision is, and what I'm trying to create with the help of some mentors I've connected with, is
Right.
really this system that's going to connect people as humans. And my vision is to give everyone the opportunity to have their own cards so that they can
Cards.
go through life and
Yes.
decide who they want to lead with.
Well, it would be great if, just looking at it, I'm thinking it's such a great idea. And, thank goodness Denver has it because of you. But man, if there's somebody else in another city or another, state, how can I be an affiliate of Strangers to
Yes,
Friends? How can I do what you're doing?
I will put this out right now, because this is all behind the scenes what I'm
Yeah.
working on. If
Yeah.
what I'm doing and holding events like this speaks to somebody out there, I would love
Yes.
to have some dialogue, because I
Yes.
think that I'm not only open to it, but I already know I really want it to happen.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
think there would be a teaching, there would be some teaching involved for me to share
Absolutely.
my
Absolutely.
wisdom and share my methods and share
Hmm.
the energy I put into it. And I would like to recreate this, and I'm pretty sure it's all recreatable. And then we can
Oh, I'm
all be
sure of it.
connected.
Well, I'm sure it
Yeah.
is. And I think that, just like Dress for Success started in New York City. It was such a great idea that they decided to have affiliates. So,
Right.
Dress for Success Denver, Strangers to Friends Denver, Strangers to Friends
Right.
Boston, Strangers to Friends Chiang Mai,
That's
Thailand.
nailed it. That's what I want.
That's what
And
you
then I
got to
can
do.
lead big retreats and have everyone come
Absolutely.
together. We can rent a cruise
Absolutely.
or something. We'll all hop on the same
Absolutely.
cruise ship. Just have some fun
Absolutely.
with it.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
it really, the possibilities of it, because of its succession and because it is succeeding and because it is creating Strangers to Friends, is a gift that you've started. And that gift it can spread its tentacles far and wide all over the world, because this is what people need. We need to
Yeah.
connect with each other.
It feels really good. It feels
Yeah.
like, when I first started doing these events, I didn't get a good turnout. I really had to power
Right.
through about 4 months of people really not coming, and I was
Right.
wanting to give up. And I have some really good friends that just encouraged me to stick with it. And
Right.
now, and especially in the one-on-one work I'm doing with people, I in the way these events are picking up, I had to have this conversation with myself of, am I being drained of energy? Am I
Right.
can I handle this? And I realized, not only am I not being drained of energy, I have more energy from these people. I have more energy from my event. These people coming to my events light me up. The people
Right.
I'm working with light me up. It's this awesome exchange. And if it ever gets, I haven't learned how to clone myself yet. It's on my to-do list, right? So eventually, obviously, I can't be and do everything, but but it doesn't feel like running around. I have so much balance with it, actually. And I
Right.
have a lot of downtime that people don't even really know I have because I don't share the downtime. But there's a lot of
Good.
downtime. But yeah, I do. It's balanced.
Yeah.
But I think there's just something to be said that when there is this good energy we're sharing with each other, it's tangible. It's this
Yeah.
tangible good energy. It's really fun. My next happy hour in Denver is February 16th.
Okay.
It's going to be in a bar on South Broadway. So
Okay.
that information's on the website under events. I do have an event coming. Actually, it's my anniversary happy hour. It's my 1-year anniversary.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So
Wow.
we're having it
You need to do a little
on the
live
same day
broadcast
I had
about
my
it.
first one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
I'm having my 1-year anniversary happy hour, and I'm doing a 1-year anniversary candle pouring party, which is I'm partnering with my girlfriend Carrie, who I have an amazing stranger to friend story with, and she owns a company called Pearl Street Lights, and she repurposes glass and she makes soy candles, and she was my first collaborative event that I had. So we're having
Very nice.
an anniversary collaborative event together at American Cultures. It's a kombucha tap room here in Denver. I love living in Denver.
Fantastic. I know Denver is fantastic in that respect. I know.
So
Yeah.
there's and I'm gonna have now a monthly I have a 30-person suite at this really swanky karaoke bar. So I'm doing karaoke nights now. And I'm also partnering with an aerial yoga and stand-up paddleboarding company. So we've got an event on the 23rd. It's just really fun ways to get people engaged and connecting.
Get to know each other. I know. I know. I love it. I love it. And I have written, if any of you or just happen to tune in and you've missed most of our interview, I have a website, www.kathybacon- between kathyandbacon.com. I have some information about Carlyn. I have her email. I have Strangers to Friend Facebook page. You just can click on all these links. You can find her. She's accessible. And what you see is actually what you get.
Bombard me.
Yeah. I mean, because this is, and if you are live in another city, because this is public all over Facebook, and you think, wow, I would really love to do a Strangers to Friends, what does that look like? Maybe you and Carlyn can put that objective together.
Very open to conversation.
Absolutely. I know you are. And I'm so extremely grateful to know you and have you come on and share this time with me about Strangers to Friends.
And our journey too. It's fun. Like even how we initially met. I guess you got to shut me up. I'll talk for hours.
No, it's okay. We have a few more minutes.
I mean, you and I met in 2015?
Yes. Yeah, I think it was 2015, doing a talk for Feline.
Because we both said yes to helping being speakers at an event at a salon.
Yeah.
Feline yeah. She's an amazing connector here in Denver as well.
Amazing person.
Actually, I'll give a shout out to Let 'Em Have It Salon. Her salon is amazing. It's a B
Yes,
Corp.
It is.
If you don't know what B Corp is, it's an organization that gives back to the community. So I'll just give her a little promo right there. But anyways, and who would have thought when we met in that moment that you'd be in Thailand, I'd be in my neighbor's house right now because he has better Wi-Fi than me, we figured out. And,
exactly.
And we'd be having this conversation. Like that's the journey. That's what I love.
And I remember you saying to me that night, well, how should we do this? I mean, like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to talk about this? And I remember saying to you,
at her event.
Yes. I remember saying to you, just act like it's your story. Just let it be your story. And it went off so smoothly that night. And so many people came up to me. I mean, I hit nerves, you hit nerves that night of women that, that's what's a funny thing too, is like, you can look at somebody and you can think that you know them. Hell no. No. You never know what someone's been through. You never know it until they actually speak the words. And I think those women were quite surprised that night about what we had both been through. And that's the beauty of exchange and human connection, is that what you see is not necessarily what it is. And everybody has a story.
What it is. I mean, gosh, when I tell you I'm addicted to people's stories, I always
Me
say I'm
too.
addicted. I'm addicted to, I mean, we get it. We both are.
Yeah.
I am like so addicted to people and being a part of their path and being just, even if it's a small role, and
Yes.
sharing their path with them and learning a little bit about them, and then, seeing where, and being able to follow their progress,
Exactly.
or them being able to support me back. And we really, I mean, it's true. Like, we really just don't know. And I bet everybody watching right now is like, oh, I have a million strangers to friends. I just never thought to call them that. Because we all have people that we can look at and go, you're right, they're a stranger to friend. You're right, they're a stranger to friend.
Right.
Because it's not like we pop out with our people. We gravitate, we create,
Right. And people are more mobile now too. They're traveling. So, they might be in a town where it's just them and, they just want some companionship or have some fun with somebody. And there you are, I mean,
without pressure. And I think that's it. Like, you did, you touched on social media, and I think a lot of it comes down to this comparison. It's just living in comparison.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's really unfortunate because comparison causes us to, like, we freeze. We're scared to do this. We're scared to do that. What will they think? It's not going to be as good as them, whatever. But like, if we could just go back to 1985 for a little bit.
Right.
And, and just kind of not know what everybody was doing and just do our own stuff. We've created this world where it's like we have to find our own way of maneuvering through the world we live in. I consider myself an old soul. I think I was born.
Same.
I'm in the right decade to be a leader in this decade, but let's be real. I belong in a different decade because it's just the way I would like peace and powers all day long, right?
Yes.
But, yeah. So it's fascinating. It's a fascinating time we live in. And if I can play a role at all about creating more ease and creating more connection and creating more connection with the people, with it's like creating connection within themselves as well as with others. Because in order to connect with others, it has to start with yourself.
It does. That's right.
Yeah.
So leave us with a few parting words before we go. Again, please check out my website, www.kathy/bacon.com. You will have all the links to Carlyn. And I highly encourage you to contact her because when Strangers to Friends happened, I was already in Thailand. There was not a damn thing I could do. So when I visit, I'm going to a meeting. that I do know. So if you're in Denver or you're anywhere around, please contact her because
my parting word is don't be a stranger.
Yay!
Leave it at that. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Do not be a stranger. And always remember that we cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond to it. And just be kind to yourself. Because it's always a journey. The light doesn't happen in the moment. You got to have some grace. You got to have some faith. And you just got to trust that it's taking us somewhere.
Yes. Yeah. So thanks everyone for being patient with us and listening. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do if something goes perfect. This is kind of how it's been.
We'll do this again. It'll be perfect. But we're just going to tell everyone it'll be fun. We'll do this again.
That's right. And I've got it recorded and you will see it all over Facebook. You will see it on our YouTube channels. You can go back at any time and hear Carlyn's word because she is who she says she is. She is about being a friend, not a stranger. So thank you so much. I am so excited about you and everything that you're doing coming and moving forward. So I love you, girl. Thanks so much for coming on.
I love you too. Thank you. Please hug Chiang Mai, Thailand for me because a piece of my heart is there too.
I will. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.